but the kind with champagne or song. All of us brave adventurers, but now they're all dead and gone. We went forth in search of great treasure, amidst some ruins so old. We slew many goblins and spiders and rats, and moved to the donjon below. Oh, we were so brave and confident, no monster could hinder our pace, till we met with a dragon so black, so vile, who soon put us into our place. La 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 la, my friends are all dead and gone. La 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 la, eaten by a big black dragon. First the black dragon glared at our fighter, and spewed forth his acid so vile. His body did sizzle and burn and melt to a puddle of flesh, blood, and bile. Our cleric then prayed and moved forward to challenge the dragon in haste. The black beast tore off his armor and shield, and chewed off his still screaming face. La 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 la, my friends are all dead and gone. La 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 la, eaten by a big black dragon. A barbarian, frenzied and fearless, he cried forth his battle cry. Our sorcerer ne'er did cease casting his spells. I watched them both suffer and die. 'Twas over in less than a minute, 10 rounds, by acid, by claw, tooth, and tail. By the time I struck at the mighty black fiend, all of our efforts had failed. La 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 la, my friends are all dead and gone. La 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 la, eaten by a big black dragon. I fled with my loot and my life to sing forth this lamentation for Jack McAllister, Morton and Tom, with friends to the mutilation. I spend my days drinking in sorrow, with acid-stained gold coins I pay. Let us never forget the party that died against the black dragon that day. La 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 la, my friends are all dead and gone. La 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 la, eaten by a big black dragon. As I was going over the notes of our campaign, I realized the multitudes of characters that were slain. In retrospect, I must admit, it wasn't really fair to lose first level characters to a flock of owl bears. We've had to roll so many saving throws in vain to keep mind flayers from sucking out our brains. It never really mattered, the odds were all the same. This was a character slaughterhouse, you called it a campaign. 2012-10-864. Screw you, DM today. To hell with your stupid game, we're walking out the door. One game I do remember, our party was first level. And the NPC who joined us had more hit dice than a devil. And though we had a ranger, and though the land was flat, a pair of giants ambushed us and made our heads go splat. Then the NPC drew both his +5 swords of sharpness. He killed both the giants while we died upon the grave.
Yet. There we go. Now we're all laughing and having good times.
What
That's the Books to Mischief channel, because just happy-go-lucky around here. Nothing bad never happens, especially in paradise. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yeah, compared to the other worlds we inhabit, some of the nights of the week, paradise is a positively happy place today. In fact, you could say that the breakfast that they just had 3 hours having was, at the risk of being sued, a happy meal. Compared to some of the other stuff that's happened this week.
I'm gonna cry. We can't.
Okay, we won't start with that. All right. I will
I'm feeling
really
so
quickly go
attacked
down
right
the line
now.
of people without mentioning anything else that happened this week, except the bastard that did it sitting next to me, Puck Lord of Chaos, our dungeon master.
I've never done anything bad in my entire life ever.
The benevolent part of your introduction
so
is
fucking
under
benevolent.
review, young man. Let me just... Next in line.
I have tears in my eyes. God damn it.
Already. Oh, damn it. Those don't even count as mine. Those still count as Puck's tears.
Yeah, they do.
I will bank
next
those.
in the row, the person who made us all cry last week, Hannah playing Miss Ellie. Down at the far end, you missed your chance, Marty. We have Slash as a special guest star this evening down here in Paradise City with us.
Missed Halloween, so
sorry, Marty. And then on the next row down, we have already weeping, and I wish I could claim them as mine, but they're not. Miss Alice and not Jill Betta. Definitely not Jill. No ears. Feel the ears, young lady. There are no ears on you tonight.
Where are my ears?
Miss Alice the Arrogant
person.
is here with us this evening. And then down there on the very far end, he tried so hard. Oh, he tried so hard, and he got nothing.
That's a
Nothing that he
lie.
wanted.
I got exactly what I wanted, but I don't know that. We're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that because this is tonight, and tonight you're getting some other stuff. So at the far end of the road there, at the bottom, Skylar playing Jet with us this evening. With that, quick, before we start talking about it again, everybody take 3 chips, put them on your sheet, except for Hannah. I would like you to take 3 chips and a legendary chip for that scene last week. Ryan's getting one too when he gets back.
I'll take Ryan's.
You just barely get yours.
He would have wanted me to have it.
How does one take a legendary chip? Do I just add it to my sheet?
Yeah, just add it to your sheet.
Okay, cool.
It's
can you only carry a maximum of 5?
I'm sorry?
I was just wondering, can
10.
you only carry...
You have 10.
Well, according to the sheet...
Legendary chips.
Oh.
There's only 5 slots for legendary chips.
So I'm assuming you can only carry up to 5 maximum.
You can assume all you like. Legendary chips are completely at my discretion. So you're only allowed to have 10 chips at a time. If you choose to be sitting on 50 points of 10 legend chips that you have earned, A, you deserve an Emmy, and B, you can have 50 points of chips.
To paraphrase, this is what a game master says. I'm the game master, and I can do whatever I want.
This is my world.
My horn showing just a little bit. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's get to this. You guys take your chips, put them on your sheets, spend anything in excess of 10 chips while I tell the fine people what happened last time. Last time, we met One-Eyed Willie as he met some undead wolves, was saved from said undead wolves, and then lost a foot race to the same southern gentleman, and he used the word gentleman in the broadest possible sense. The two of them returned to town, and poor Willie tried to wrap his head around what was going on, none of which was friendly, none of which was nice, and none of which sounded anything remotely like the name on the sign, Paradise. Miss Alice did something she does a lot of. She met a whole new version of somebody. And she's got questions about a certain blacksmith and a certain burn. You also stepped in and cleaned up some ick in the doctor's basement, which has involved you now wearing slightly less posh clothes than you had on before because the other ones are ruined. And this will put a smile on your face. I don't know if you remember this.
I do.
All Baptiste stuff is piled on the table in front of you. And Baptiste is nowhere in sight.
It's amazing. He's so dumb.
He even swore. Ryan even swore when he left.
So long, dumbass.
I don't know why you thought I was the person you wanted to leave this with, but whatever.
Jet had an interesting experience. He briefly lost contact while in the mine with Raven and discovered he did not like that feeling. He's discovered some information about what happened to the doctor, and it sounds absolutely nothing like what Raven told him was going to happen. And so he had questions, and he buggered off to his sort of special place, the sheriff's office, and One-Eyed Willie tagged along with him. And if One-Eyed Willie, if you would be so kind as to quote the reason why you left the breakfast table.
Reason why I left the breakfast table is I was hoping maybe I'd find someplace a little bit more friendly and comfortable to spend my time in, perhaps a cave full of angry bears.
Which puts us in mind of all the people sitting around the table. Jet also, after many delays, finally got a chance to test his theory about Charlie and the bar. It turns out he can kind of heal Charlie by healing Charlie that heals the bar that heals Charlie. And then Charlie further messed with it by then healing Jet for the wound he gave himself to heal Charlie, to heal the bar, to heal Charlie.
Which is just rude at that point, by the way.
He's now stuck in a meta magic duel with Charlie. Nobody's quite sure who owes who what. And the bar is slightly more put back together than it was, and so is Charlie, even though Miss Ellie found out that Charlie had cast a protection spell on her without her knowledge and at great cost to himself. And then that kind of got blown out of the water. Because a very nice old man who made you very uncomfortable before, just made you even more uncomfortable, but in a completely different way. I'm just going to leave it at Baptiste bombshelled Ellie. And they both ended up with a legend chip as a result of the consequent scene. So see what you missed if you didn't see last week. Just that last bit alone, you should go back and watch. After we watch tonight, watch live tonight. We like those numbers too, but then go back and watch last week so this makes sense.
Stay here. Don't go anywhere.
That's right. Don't go away. Because right now is when we go down the rabbit hole to our very own poisoned paradise. And we're going to begin. We're going to begin in the sheriff's office.
Oh, boy.
Jet, you walk in, Willie thumps in behind you. This strange old man in blue or gray? I never remember.
Blue.
It's not my war. You're in blue. Right. This strange old man from the Northern Army and One Eye, who Baptiste, a man you know is a soldier of the Southern Army, brought back and appears to have a strange mutual respect with. But he followed you because of the tension at the breakfast table into the sheriff's office. There's nobody in the jug tonight because there is no bar. So everybody drank at home. The sheriff himself sees you as you walk in, sees the newcomer, kind of raises his eyebrows at you like, is this okay?
I just kind of nod.
And he reaches down and picks up a tin cup of coffee, kicks his boots off of his desk, stands up, and just walks out the door. Gives you a little, put the coffee on the way by.
Good to meet you too, Sheriff.
At another time, I believe this young man has a need of my office. Should I, and he looks at you again, Jet, should I escort this gentleman outside?
No, sir. He's a acquaintance of mine so far.
All right. I understand there's something in the doctor's basement I should go and look at. I'll be back in a while, son. Lock up if you leave.
Yes, sir, of course.
And he heads off. It is slowly, like he doesn't want to go. He heads off down the street towards the doctor's office. And I believe Miss Alice explained to you what she found there. Or at least that you guys were going to have to go and look because it was hideous.
Yeah, that was a weird conversation.
Yeah. They were judging me because I was changing out of my filthy clothes mostly. So.
Yep.
You clothes wearing people.
And Slash was a complete gentleman and didn't look, which goes completely against his character as Slash, who absolutely would have looked.
So,
Yeah.
after the sheriff walks out, Willie plops himself down in the sheriff's chair and kind of leans back at the desk. So, what are we doing here, son?
And I sit down on the other side of the desk and I said, well, that chair that you happen to be sitting in is one of the few places where I've ever seen this friend of mine, but she likes to make an appearance, if you know what I mean.
No kidding. Well, why don't we make a swap? I wouldn't want to, put a damper on anything you're doing.
All right. Well, then I'll let him sit there and I'll just kind of...
He changes places. He just kind of leans on the desk. He's really interested.
And I'm not going to sit in that chair. I'm going to sit on the other side on the ground, just kind of crisscrossed. And I'm just going to be like, 1 second. And then I'm going to start.
Take your time.
I'm going to think about it. And then I'm going to open one eye and I'm going to be like, if I start talking and you don't see anything, just put your hand on my shoulder. And
I may or may not do that. It depends on how interesting what the goings on is. Now, go ahead.
That's fair. And I'm just going to sit there and I don't think I'd understand or know what meditating is, but just the concept of trying to feel and reach out to anything familiar that I associate with Raven, because I have no idea at this point.
Except that you do. You close your eyes and you lean back against your head, sort of touches that desk. And there's like a shadow of where a bird flew. Like if you took all the frames of a movie of a bird flying and put them all up at once, and you'd see this sort of hazy shape of a path that a bird flew. And you can follow that with your mind. And you get further and further and further away along this trail. And then you hear her voice. Oh, I'll be right there. And she comes to, ooh, shouldn't do that to the camera. That looks freaky. She comes right at your face from a distance down this line. And you kind of snap back just without thinking. And you bang your head against the table and you open your eyes back in the sheriff's office. And she does that thing in Raven form where she comes through the closed window, like the glass. She just right through it. And she comes in and lands on the desk, her claws on the desk. You can see her, Willie. She looks right at you. Her eyes go up and down, and you feel judged. But you feel like you passed. And then she turns away from you and kind of across the table and looks down over the edge at the top of your head, Jet. Why aren't you in the chair?
I don't know. Floor.
I gave it to him. He sat on the floor for some reason.
I'm still getting used to this. I have some questions, naturally. I'm sure you can imagine why.
You can see her little claws hanging over the edge above you. You can hear this, Willie, in your head.
Oh.
Like her little beak is not moving, but there's this beautiful, You can tell from the tone of voice and the way she carries it, she's sort of a middle-aged woman, but this voice is it's much nicer than I can possibly do. It's just very melodious and very sweet. And it is absolutely focused on Jet.
Well, now that is interesting.
You had questions?
And I kind of straighten up and turn around so I can actually see her. Why? What happened? The last thing I remember seeing was you and that man too, whatever it's called, going at it. And I was lost in wherever the heck that place is. So I just fell asleep. When I came to, I was on the side of the road with that preacher man coming after y'all. I was not comfortable about it. And then he said that, and I just kind of look at her.
And she's just, the whole time she's moving around, she looks quite nervous. And when you finally run down, she says to you, "It was bad in the cave when I couldn't get to you."
Yeah, I was not happy about that. I don't know why. Something about that mountain ain't right. Because you're the one that...
I can't reach in there. It's the rock. I can't protect you in there.
Right. Why, though?
Since they dug it out. When it was small, it was fine. Because you remember, when you blew up, you were inside this mine.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a crack. There's way more ghost rock exposed now in that mine than there was when you were in there before. You were also just inside. This time you were all the way like 120 feet at the back. Either way, she has completely deflected your question.
Which I'm sure I've noticed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry, and I would never intentionally do that. It made me very uncomfortable, but this is Mr. or I'm sorry, sir, what was your title again?
I'm Colonel William Juanede Weston.
She says it with you. Like mirror voicing you as you say it.
My friends just call me Willie.
And you hear in your head, both of them?
The ones that are left, madam. I am a lot to take.
Like she couldn't resist.
I'm told I'm a lot to take.
He was along with that preacher fellow, and they found the doctor.
My sister resisted.
Your who?
It's not the right word, but it's the best word. It's not like sisters like you and your brother, but sisters like the same?
I think I understand this creature.
I'm trying. I learn a little bit more every day, but are you saying the man too, or the doctor?
The feet again. The Manitou. My sister.
Aren't they, bad?
And she freezes, and the little raven shoulders come up. Am I bad?
No, ma'am. Not that I would ever tell. But
We're not all bad. We're not all good. Bad and good are kind of your words.
It's never a good idea to judge anybody based on their kin. If you ever met my older brother.
Right.
She looks at you and says, I have a brother that should have been tipped out of the nest when he was a day old. I understand. And back to you.
On that, you and I can agree.
Oh, boy. This is a lot. It's always a lot.
She didn't want to come out.
But
So I put her to sleep, and I asked the doctor, and she said finish it. Did the preacher not tell you she was smiling?
Help me out here, Mr. Kevin Marshall. I don't think he
I
did.
don't believe he did.
No, he didn't.
No, the way he sees these things, being a man of the cloth, even a fallen man of the cloth, is very, very different. I mean, literally, he sees a different version of them than you do.
It was a very grim affair.
And
Willie was there. He buried him. He did an 8-hour exorcism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at which point I would look at him and confirm. I'd be like, he didn't tell me that. Was she?
No, he was a bit light on the details. I did not think it was my position to let you know such things. But she seemed quite content. I imagine the woman that we are speaking of is the one that I saw the preacher conduct a ghastly long ritual on the side of the road for.
And I just am thinking, and I just look back at her on the table, and I just say, I think that man is an honest man, but I do not trust that man. I don't know.
Flow changes on the table, like from a blend from one hologram to another almost. And she's this tiny little woman, the woman you know, this incredibly powerful being. And Willie, you see her too. There's like a 16-inch tall woman on the table with long black hair that actually reflects blue in the light, and these skin clothes. And she looks right at you, Jet, and she says, my sister did not want to come out, so I reached in and I took her. And we fought.
And I lean in. Are we doing the right thing?
I said, she back to the Raven. I said before, right and wrong are kind of your words.
Yeah, but they're important to me.
She's happy wherever she is. And you can tell she means the doctor. I can't go there. She doesn't believe what I believe.
Okay. I believe you. I always do.
I'm sorry.
There's just a lot of complicated things that I was never told about as a boy. And since I came out here, even as a man, half of these things I never experienced. I knew it could get weird, but I never thought it could get this odd and complicated.
And the Raven giggles. And that happens out loud. Like this Raven goes, and in your head you hear her voice again. You haven't seen anything yet. And she, and back out the window.
Well, now that's a relief. I figured there was a 50-50 chance you just sat in here at home to yourself and nobody actually showed up. But I'm quite pleased that you are not insane.
Colonel, I assure you, I was just as afraid that there was a good chance that you would not see what I saw. If you have, Miss Ellie being one of those few. And,
son, can I be perfectly honest with you?
I would love nothing more.
You are deep in it, boy. You are up to your eyeballs. And it is, I wouldn't say it's necessarily not good, but it ain't great neither. It's time to take a step back and assess.
Sir, that woman saved me from something that would have killed me 2 times over.
That's very good. A bear will just as soon pull you out of the river to eat you. It don't mean it likes you. I'm just saying be careful.
Yes, sir.
Says the man with the big scar across his face and one missing eye.
Yeah.
And the wrong uniform to be walking around in this part of the world in.
Those things aren't important to him.
Yeah.
But now you know. And you're another one. And
Indeed, I do. And I like you, Mr. Jet. You got some traits that I find admirable in a young man.
well,
So I think old Willie's going to look out for you for a little while.
thank you, Colonel. I'll try to return the favor. I seem to be one of the few men of the law in this town, so I try to do what's right.
You seem to have a good head for it, although you seem to be a bad judge of character. But
He's got 2 badges, so he must be a good sheriff.
But I mean, I suppose things will play out.
3, right? I forgot. You got 3 badges now.
Like on top of each other. They're stacked, and it's like out to here.
I'm just gonna weld them together one day.
Yeah,
and
looks
have
like
a mess. Oh.
So
what do we do now? We got some squirrels that are going to come in here? Or?
That's all I got for today's show, Colonel. We can go reconvene with the others, or if there's anything you need to do.
Right behind you, sir.
So meanwhile, just across the street, down the road a little bit.
If I could just interject
Yep.
just a second, so sorry. There's a faint sort of rhythmic squeaking on the track. I'm not sure if it's a feedback or if it's background elements being filtered out. But just anyone who's not in the scene, could you go ahead and mute your mics?
I suspect, as you said it, it's probably me. I sit really close to my desk, and I may have been rocking the whole desk with my knee while I did that. So
That's entirely possible.
I will
But
attempt to stop.
Just making
doing
everyone
that.
aware. All right.
Yep. Okay.
Go on.
So across the street in the aptly named Hotel Number 1, because it was the first hotel in paradise, in the breakfast room, I guess at the moment, Lucius is still upstairs. Miss Ellie is walking the streets, having her mind blown by Baptiste. Jet and Willie are across the road. So, Miss Alice.
I'm gonna go through Baptiste shit.
His gun belt is on the table with both of the pistols that you've seen many times, and the third one that sits in the back. His
So-
duster, yep.
Anybody that would be watching Alice would basically
There's
see
one staff member.
Yeah, they would basically see like Baptiste walk out and Alice go, wait a second, and then go, and then just reach out and just like, okay, here we go. And she's going through everything and taking detailed notes, and then whatever, depending on whatever she finds. We'll see.
He's described the pistols before. The one thing you notice that may or may not have been obvious before, one of them is made of ghost steel.
Okay. That's the, oh my gosh.
I believe that is
I think that's forgiveness.
It's the dark one, either way.
I think it is
I
forgiveness.
believe so, yeah. So there's that immediate. This gun is constantly putting off this tiny little mist of smoke from the ghost steel that it's made of. The weapons are all show signs of age. They're incredibly well crafted, but all the corners are round. There's no sharp edges left. It's been cleaned, maintained, loved, polished, used, repaired for ages. The belt, it looks so old, you're surprised there were cows when this belt was made. Like, it might be dinosaur hide, it's so old. All hand stitched. Every stitch slightly different. You can tell it was done by hand. It's also been adjusted a couple times, mostly to make it smaller. And then the duster. It's about twice as thick as you expected it to be. It actually almost seems like it would act as armor. It seems almost that thick. But then you realize it's actually 2 of them stitched together. So 2 heavy leather dusters stitched together. And you flip inside looking for, what are you looking for?
Whatever I can find.
First,
Going through the pockets. Is it stitched together? If it's stitched together, I would look at the seam to
Yep.
see if there are any like hidey holes.
You start
versus-
poking around. You find the Wyoming badge almost immediately.
Yep.
It's just pinned on the inside. There's
Yeah.
also several other sorts of badges in that area. They all look that sort of same. You've seen. I mean, Jet's got 3, and
Yeah.
he's only been a marshal. He's only been a sheriff for 3 days. So having Baptiste having 4 or 5 is not anything weird. But then you start poking around in the lining, and you feel a little round disc about that big inside the lining between the 2 coats. It's not a star. Just a little round disc.
Is it moving? Like, does it feel like it's stitched in place, or is
You
it
can
like...
slide it around inside the lining, but there's no obvious way to get it out. It looks like you'd have to cut the stitching somewhere to get it out.
Crap.
Or cut the lining.
I'm gonna do it.
Pull out a hat pin and just start popping stitches.
But I want to do it like, I want to, if I can slide it all the way down to the very bottom,
Mm-hmm.
like somewhere
out the bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big issue. You're the lady behind the counter, you hear clank as she very obviously like bangs 2 glasses together, like she sees what you're doing. You're cutting into this man's jacket in the middle of
I'm
her...
literally, but yeah, and I'm doing it very just enough to get to see what this is.
Yep.
And
I assume she gets the stare.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just,
like kind of like
just, and she goes back to cleaning the glass. You pop a couple stitches, a little corner comes out. There's a bit of carving on it. Looks like maybe 1 point of a 5-pointed star. Got like, if you take out 1 more stitch, there's no going back.
I'm taking out 1 more stitch.
That stitch you pop, and the next 3 loosen up, and the material V's out like that, and this thing falls into your hand. You have just enough time to register it's a round piece of pounded tin with a 5-pointed star carved in by hand, and not particularly well. Like somebody just took the tip of a knife and carved a 5-pointed star. There's no name. There's no identification. There's no pin on the back. You have just enough time to recognize all of that, and you're gone. You smell cordite and gun smoke and the banging and whistling of bullets crashing around you, and you hear a ricochet off a wall, and you hear a bullet go past your ear that's tumbling. There's no sound like it in the world. As it goes past your ear, another one off your shoulder. That one took jacket and maybe just a little bit of meat. And you see a big, heavy hand. Not Baptiste. You're in first person now. You're looking down the arm. It's not Baptiste's hand. This is a huge, calloused, heavy hand. And this 6-shooter in front of you, just thumb up one at a time, just pop, pop, pop. And every time he shoots, somebody drops across the street. You can see this gun battle going on. And he walks out into the street just like you saw the sheriff do. And pop, pop, pop. The last shot, he drops the pistol, reaches across his body, pulls out another one, and just keeps shooting. Couple seconds pass. The gun smoke is so thick he walks into it like a fog and you can't see, and then you're back. And on this side there's stables, and on this side you're in another gunfight. On this side there's stables, on this side there's another gate. There's 5 men standing across from you and 4, 2 on each side of you. The gunfight has just started and people are diving for cover in all directions except you. You're standing. That same big mitt comes up again. Pop, pop, pop. You feel a shot hits you in the arm. You drop the gun with that hand, reach with your left hand and pull out that second pistol, and that hand comes up and pop, pop, pop. They're all down. You stand alone. You look to the left and the right, and the 4 that were with you are all dead. They were good men. You'd known them for years. And across from you, lying in the dirt and the horse shit of this corral, are 5 boys. Not one of them over 25. The left hand puts the pistol back in the pocket, and you feel a wave of disgust, self-loathing, and pain. You're back in the saloon with this thing in your hand. The reason you came back is because Baptiste just walked in, grabbed the pistols with one hand, the jacket with the other, stood up, went, and you saw tear tracks down his cheeks. And he turned and went to leave. And just as he gets to the door, Ellie comes in. And Baptiste is like he walks into a force field, just bang. And he literally goes around Ellie in a circle like that, out the door, and you hear his boots dunk, 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 down the wooden walkway, down the street, and gone. As Ellie walks up to you, you look down. You still have the badge.
What? What the
Lucius.
frick?
The night before you came back, you had spent all day up at the... you left the cave. You realized you had duties to attend to and that you had not attended to those duties. The father voice in you told you it was time to go and do your damn job, son. So you went back down the hill, went to the graveyard, and started to process these bodies because they have to go in the ground tomorrow. So you spent all day getting them ready, the proper ceremonies, the proper preparations. You got them in their pine boxes. You got them all lined up behind the correct graves with the correct crosses. It's what most people would consider horrible work. You're working with bodies that in this case have been dead for 2 days. And they're in all sorts of twisted positions because of the dancing sickness, for lack of a better phrase, that they had when they died. But that whole day, your mind, you're so good at what you do. This is just automatic. And the whole day, your mind is processing springs and levers and blades and sharpened edges. And you go home that night to make your scythe. And you're up until the middle of the night because you've only got little tools. You don't have access to the forge for this. So it's all tiny hand cuts. And just before you go to bed, you finish. Tell me what it looks like.
It's made out of ghost steel, so it has this kind of strange kind of metal pieces. They're, how should I put this? Like, it's almost like, you know, when you put it together, like those, like an intricate kind of like puzzle, but like squared, kind of like, so you see certain like just barely the lines and stuff like that.
Yep.
As if it's supposed to come apart.
Yeah. So
I look at this thing and just like, finally, right? And then
how do you trigger it?
I trigger it by like just a tiny bit of a twist, right?
Okay, so there's an actual mechanism at the top.
Yeah, just a tiny twist. There's also a button too.
I'm going to say this just so I can use it against you in the future. That means it takes 2 hands to operate, to start it, right? To make it happen, because you have to go.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is now canon. I will use that against you at some point. You will only have 1 hand free. I guarantee it. So and what happens to the blade? It starts off looking like a shovel.
Yeah, and then it unfolds like just this nice
just
curve.
click 3 pieces, and then boom, you've got this curved, sharpened edge.
About 3 or 4 pieces, like nice curve, and it just like very nicely done like that.
And then you twist it back, and because you're amazing, it's back into a shovel.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like very pleased with myself. I'm like, I can't wait to play with you tomorrow.
I almost said you took it to bed and in the middle of the night went and cut off a finger, but no. We need a comedy episode, but I cannot kill somebody. Not tonight. Not tonight. So with that, you are so proud of yourself. There's ghost rock shavings all over the room. There's little bits of wood and bits of metal from the mechanism, and you don't care. You step on one as you head towards bed. It drives into the bottom of your foot like a piece of Lego, and you pull it out and just crawl into bed and crash, happy and smiling with your job done. Miss Ellie. That happened with Baptiste. And he goes around you and out, and you, because you're standing in the door, can see he's heading for the stables. He has no idea what you did last night, but it looks for all the world like he's going to go and ride until his pain goes away. One more thing. You're still wearing the necklace. You turn around and Miss Alice is sitting at the table.
Pretty much like this, like just and yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go up to her and he just was sobbing at me and dropped a bombshell.
Yeah.
And then he came in here and looked like he saw a ghost again. So I'm just like, I just go up to Alice and, what happened?
Make a perception check for me, Miss Ellie, please. Normally I wouldn't, but you're distracted, so there's a chance you might not see what she's got in her hand. Scrutinize, yes. Whoops, wrong system. Sorry, Pinnacle. Scrutinize.
Alice is just like sitting there like...
You see Alice trying to shove something under her plate.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That or under her dress. So
yeah,
like
she's trying to hide this
somewhere.
thing. Yeah, looks like a coaster. You've been in 1,000 bars. It looks like, for all the world, like a shitty tin coaster.
Does it have something to do with that, Miss Alice?
I fucked up, and then Alice is getting up and running out to going straight to Dan Comfort. Like just
I fucked up and gone.
Yep. And well, the first thing that she would do is like run out the door and see if she sees Baptiste. I imagine by this point he's nowhere to be seen.
He's in a very spry old man form, which you've kind of seen before.
Yeah.
Not the one that just barely beat One-Eyed Willie in the race.
So yeah, Ellie would see Alice would say that, stand up, go to the door, kind of do one of these, and be like, "It's no use," and then just run
for Dan Comfort. Okay.
Did we see this as she ran by?
I was just going to say, you guys step out the door because narrative timing. You guys step out the door just in time to see Miss Alice burst in a different dress, burst through the door, look left, look right, and then run down the street in a borderline unladylike fashion. It's not this.
It's very.
She's hit the giddy up button, but she's still being a lady.
She can possibly physically go because this dress isn't. The other one had room; you could like move your legs. With this one, it's very like.
You'd have to release the parachute on this one before you could run it, and that's 100 buttons. So, the two of you out the door and see that. Miss Ellie,
I'm gonna. I mean, I've not really seen Miss Alice. The only time I've seen Miss Alice act unladylike was when she saw the friggin' moving picture. So I'm gonna follow her. Because also Miss Alice just admitted that she screwed up. So
yes, and as you turn towards the door, a little motion in the corner of your eye catches your eye, and you turn around, and Lucius is coming running down the stairs with his shovel, and he says, "Watch this!" And it turns into a scythe in the middle of the saloon. Back into a shovel.
Oh, look at that. Palingrim's a wizard.
Everybody's going to have a 2-word descriptor by the end.
I'm going to just like, damn it. Why did I start?
Shoot and pray.
And upon seeing, like, as we were walking in, upon seeing Miss Alice, I'm going to take
just out in the street. So yeah,
I'm going to take a tiny bit of liberty and say I probably know guilt when I see it. And I'm just going to look and watch her go and just kind of narrow my eyes and turn to Willie and be like, that girl's...
Then you see Ellie come out the door.
Booking it after her.
Yep. I'm just standing here like, Okay, I'll just follow Ellie.
I'm late for breakfast, as usual. Shit.
Haven't even had my coffee yet.
You look over, and the lady behind the bar is just staring at the ground, polishing a glass.
She better be.
Nothing to do with any of this.
She better be.
I suppose
She lives in paradise. She knows better than to pay attention.
Suppose Preacher challenged her to a foot race too.
I don't know, sir, but she looks guiltier than a hound in the hen house.
Who's your friend, Jet?
We met briefly at breakfast. You seemed somewhat distracted. Name is Colonel William Wanede Weston. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir.
Oh, a pleasure. I am Lucius Glory, the Undertaker.
I see.
You know, if you change the spelling of Waned to using a W to start, you could be www.willywaned.
Do not tempt me, sir. You know exactly the kind of person I am.
So you are essentially all in the street watching, in order, Miss Alice tearing down the middle of the road, followed by Miss Ellie tearing down the middle of the road, followed by the three supposed gentlemen in the party all staring down the road after him, chewing their cigarette or their tobacco. I wonder what's up.
Well, we going after her, or we going to hang out in the sunshine?
Well, what did I miss? What happened?
Well, the fancy girl peeled out of here like a bat out of hell. Old boy here figures that she looks guilty, and
guilt? Alice.
Well, this
guilty.
This young lady here, who I met briefly at breakfast, seems to think that something's up as well.
That's very peculiar for Alice to feel guilt.
Yeah, she didn't strike me as a sensitive type at breakfast.
It should be. Alice was really hoping she was going to have time to stitch this back into the dusters.
Of course you were hoping that. It's really
should have
sweet
known
that you thought I was going to give you that opportunity.
I knew I probably would, but Alice was like...
We were expecting CSI Poison Paradise where everything's carefully disassembled on a table.
Consequences.
Speaking of Miss Alice, you slam into... I mean, it's only a block and a half away. So at this point, you slam through the door into the Paradise Dispatch. And there is Dan Clark, oh, it's the local, sitting behind the counter, looking up at you. Yes, Miss Alice. He's looking behind you to see if anybody's coming with you.
I'm not paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
I like run in, grab him, go straight into the photo lab and shut the door.
Wow, Miss Alice.
Oh, shut up, you buffoon. And
as soon as the door closes, I'm sorry, I forgot myself for a moment.
And she slams the thing down on the table.
And he looks down, and in the dark room, in one candle in the corner with a red filter over it, which we determined was the lighting in this room last time, he goes white. I haven't had a chance to speak with the gentleman in question yet. And he's waiting for you.
I have been trying for so long to have a damn conversation with this man. But currently, more importantly, this was in between. He has two dusters that have been stitched together. This was in between them. And when I held it, I got some like memories. Some sort of.
As the narrator, what was that, Miss Alice? You almost said a word that started with M there.
Yeah, memories. Damn it.
Oh, okay. It wasn't magic then, in any way, shape, or form.
No, she's like, there was some sort of memories, and she'll like describe it like it's like I was seeing There
You
was
get
a
to about
hand
that
and-
point and you hear the door outside slam open and footsteps. Boom, 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 boom. And then they stop.
And
Ellie, you come through the door and you can't see anybody in the office.
Alice is going to hold her hand over Dan Comfort's mouth.
Well, when I come in, I'm just gonna be like, Miss Alice, I know you're in here. Amazingly, in that dress, you are not faster than I am.
Not a word.
He takes a quill pen and starts scritching. Like, he tried to get on the paper, but he missed. He's actually writing on the table. And it just says, famous friends.
What does the building look like? Like inside the room? How many places?
It's one big room. You've been in here before, so you know the layout of this place. In fact, you know the room that they're in. It's one big office in the front with a couple of desks at it that he works at. There's one desk when he's being the editor, and one desk when he's being the copywriter, and one desk when he's being the, he's got like 5 desks for himself. Because you need different equipment at different desks. There's the printing press in the back. There's a teletype machine or the telegraph machine sitting in the corner, and then there's the door at the back that leads to the darkroom.
Well, I mean, there's only one door, right?
Yeah, you've been in it before.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through that door.
Okay. The door starts to push open, Miss Alice. This door doesn't lock. There's no reason why it would.
Yeah. Alice is gonna wait and see who it is.
Miss Ellie's face.
Okay. All right. Alice will kind of like ease up a little bit, and she grabs Ellie, pulls her in, and shuts the door behind her. No, I'll let him go.
I was gonna say, did you just kidnap Dan?
And she'll shut the door behind her, and then she when the door started opening, I would have grabbed the badge or whatever.
Yep. You already got busted with it out in the open once.
And then when I see that it's Ellie, once I shut the door, I'll sit it down I'll go over to the candle because mine and Dan's eyes are used to this light.
Yep. Sure. And it doesn't take long. I mean, you're all young. Well, 2 of you are young, and his eyes are used to this light. So,
for the audience sake, I have a question. How small is this room? Please tell me it's like a closet.
It's not big. We already last time they were in this room, they had to back out one at a time. So nobody else is fitting in this room. They're like boom, 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 stacked together by this little tiny table with 3 trays on it for developing photographs.
So as a player, I want to make this worse. So
you guys are coming.
While we head on up there,
just long, and you'll be in there too. Dan looks up at you very quickly, Alice, and says, "What do you already know?"
I already know that he apparently was friends with Wild Bill and Jane.
And he grins. He says, "So," and he points at the badge. "So, Alice, who's the most famous sheriff you've ever heard of?
Who's the most famous sheriff?
And why does your man have his badge? Wine? I've got another bottle in the..." He's suddenly very much in control of himself again. Do you have history at all? Even home, I would settle for home county. I will give you the 2 dice from home county.
I know I've got home county. I don't know.
Everybody's got home county. That's why I chose it.
I don't know.
It's 2, so you actually get 2 dice.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's a 9.
A number of famous sheriffs come to mind, especially the age of this. But he sees you struggling for a little while, and he looks.
I mean, Alice is because I feel like Alice would maybe it was when he mentions it, she may know what he's talking about, but she was more concerned with her studies and
he says, "Can I see it?"
I'll slide it over.
As soon as he touches it, he just like he's being electrocuted by it, and you realize that's what you must have looked like when you touched it. And after just about a second and a half, his hand comes off of it.
Dan, are you okay?
Wow. What did you see?
And I tell him.
And the door behind you comes open as he says, "The corral. The fucking OK corral." And he pulls his sleeve down over his hand and pushes the badge back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe we've got some company outside. Dan Comfort is back.
Hello? Y'all wanted in here. We figured maybe something's up. It's just Willie.
Alice is going to open the door and step out and say, well, I thought that I had just a beautiful picture, but turns out it was a dud.
You seemed awful flustered, ma'am. I mentioned I don't know you very well, but everybody was...
Well, you can ask anybody. I get very excited when I think my pictures are good. And because I thought that I had another one of these, and she's going to pull it out, and she's going to blow his freaking mind. And she's going to give him the picture of on the ghost.
She hands you this
still.
3-dimensional image of people running.
Oh, that's amazing.
And as you kind of tip it from side to side, and they run back and forth.
Oh, yeah, no, look, Willie can be entertained with this for hours.
I had a feeling.
I scrutinize Alice to see if she's hiding something.
Well, I need to know, did I know if I saw guilt? Because if I need to make a scrutinize, I don't want to run over on that. So if I need to check for it, I will, because if not, I'm going to be looking at her.
Although, as someone who's always guilty...
I'm not sure if guilt is the right word. Miss Alice, when you guys... I'll ask you in order, because the last one in, first one out. So the first person, as the door opens and the three of you pile out, first one out is Miss Ellie. After what you just saw, assuming you didn't have time to react, are you going to try and hide what you... I mean, none of you have ever really sort of hidden what your reactions have been before. So what does he see?
For me, I mean, I'm still just kind of confused. I know that they're talking about Baptiste, but I didn't touch the thing. I just saw them. Yep. I just saw Dan look like he got electrocuted. So I don't really have any strong reaction.
Yep. And you heard the reference to the OK Corral. So
yeah, I'm mostly just kind of confused, trying to be like, what? Because I don't even know what she saw.
Next out of the room, I'm assuming you hid this thing somewhere about your person before you stepped out of the room this time. You pick it up gingerly, expecting, nope, apparently it only hits you once, maybe, and you hide it somewhere in amongst your accoutrement and head out of the room. And what do they see on Alice's face?
The best thing I can really approximate it to is probably that... You know that thing that a reporter does or a detective does when they're like trying to like put things together? Yep. That face. Like the
beautiful mind kind of like
I was gonna say she comes out of this back room looking like she's doing calculus in her head. And then behind the two of them comes Dan, who's just got this borderline moronic grin on his face. Yeah, too bad. He hears you. He's, yeah, too bad, Miss Alice. That would have been real pretty. I could see. Oh, you showed him that? And he's pointing at Willie and the three.
Well, yes.
That is just the damnedest thing.
Yeah,
I assume by this point he's got it upside down and he's got the money back and forth
like
across the ceiling of the room.
He's just doing it over and over again. He's just playing with it. Okay, so off the books. Sean knows who Baptiste is. Willie's been around the block.
Yeah.
And I make a history check, and it could be a very high number.
Yeah.
To just offhandedly know who he is from what he looks like.
Given your age, I don't know if he is who you think he is, but he used to run with that group.
Okay. All right. I won't do it then. If it doesn't work out with the timing. So I'll just keep playing with my picture.
Yeah, he's sort of he's a lesser known member.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, but yeah, you got another hint bomb drop.
Yeah.
Plus you
I think I know who he is. It's like Because the funny thing is if it's who I think it is, I said it like very early on.
Well, remember,
as a
he
fucking
is,
joke.
Just to remind you, he is Baptiste Saint-Laurent. That there's no question about that. The person that you saw, whose eyes you saw through, was not him.
Yeah.
Much bigger, more powerfully built man.
Yeah. Which I have an idea of who I think it was, but I don't know. I don't know how big Wyatt Earp was. So I feel like it's Wyatt
Makes
Earp.
you wish you'd rolled higher than a 9, eh?
But
Jet, have you seen this picture?
I'm in that picture, sir.
Oh, goddamn, so you are. Oh, look at you run.
At this point, you realize you're watching it. It's like, you know what? That old man in that picture moves pretty good. No wonder he beat me.
Yeah, because it's a picture of Jet and Baptiste.
And
so
Baptiste was in full go mode. Like, he
Yeah.
was in his max mode, the one that leaves him exhausted. So
Well, he can sprint. No wonder he beat me. How about you, tall and pale? I never got your name. Have you seen
Is
this?
Lucius here?
Yeah, we all.
Lucius hasn't seen the picture.
Yeah,
Lucius
I didn't get a
hasn't
chance
seen
to.
it.
I was too depressed. Remember? So.
Lucius, you got to take a look at this.
Okay. Wow.
Like side by side, like turning it back and forth.
Yes. And Alice is like, I knew that making a ghost still daguerreotype would do something, but damn, I didn't know it was going to do that.
And Dan pokes you rather familiarly, sort of in the short ribs, a little bit like where a proper gentleman probably shouldn't touch a lady he hasn't been introduced to, at least when he's still referring to as Miss Alice. But it makes you know which Dan is poking you, even though the voice is Dan Comfort. And he says, I told you, Miss Alice, you're going to be rich with them.
This is my first time seeing Dan, isn't it?
Yes. And you have only seen Dan Comfort.
I'm gonna say, well, I mean, I'm already rich, but richer is always better.
And 2 fingers are still just on your lower back. He just leaves them there.
And I'm gonna kind of give him the look like I'm trying, okay? Like,
and he takes them away. And he gives you a grin though, like you've given him permission to do it again at some point.
I don't even. And so I'm like, I'm trying to get like, I'm noticing that Jet's not saying anything, and I'm
he's just
like,
giving you the through the eyebrows thing.
This is what I need. I need this clarification. I wasn't asking about when they came out of that room. I was asking about when she ran down the street.
Oh yeah, I think guilt is a fair. After you stole his badge.
Yeah, there was probably an amount of guilt, and probably also an amount of, because it was after the vision.
Yeah.
So there was probably also an amount of like, the fuck, like, for lack of a bit, like.
Yeah. I guess the only one who would really know how guilty she feels is Miss Ellie, because she heard her say, "I done fucked up."
So I'm not mystified. Everybody else is like, "Oh shit, look at."
I've successfully distracted them,
and I'm just looking.
It didn't take much.
Like, I don't have the stare, but I'm doing the stare without the points in it. I'm just like got my eyes narrowed, just watching her, just like,
yep.
I know something's up. I know what a picture you've taken looks
well,
like.
Faces without rolls works both ways, so that's what you see when you see Jet.
Alice is
giving you the stink eye.
Just damn it. Oh, damn it, Alice. Why would you do this? Alice, I hate Alice right now. Alice is going to stare right back at Jet, but with the stare. And I'll roll for it if it'll make Jet feel better.
Do you guys want to roll, or Jet? She gives you the coldest look. I mean, you've seen it. You've been with this woman for, sort of 10 days now.
And
You're familiar.
She's also like, and it's fast too. It's not like in this instance, it's not where she's like sitting there, eye contact for 30 seconds. Like it's fast. She literally just flashes and then goes right back into, why, yeah, it's amazing. I've got a couple more of these, and kind of.
And that's just enough. And there's just a tiny bit of a smile because all that did was confirm everything I already knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. And Alice, especially, like, for one, Alice wants to talk to Dan Comfort more about this before she shares the information she has. For two, she doesn't know this dude with the eye, so she doesn't want to talk about anything in front of him. So, and she doesn't want to give out Dan Comfort's secret either. And so there's a lot that's going on.
More secrets.
Well, now that reminds me. Now put this picture down for a moment. It's all yours, Mr. Lucius. Y'all been talking about this ghost rock. I heard quite a bit about this ghost rock, and I was hoping to get my hands on some, because I heard if a fella were to forge a bullet from that material, well, I hear it's pretty good at putting folks down that are hard to put down.
Well,
that's of great interest to me.
Well, there's a whole mountain up there full of it, but that stuff can make you crazy, apparently.
Madam Crazy's where I live.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that.
And
by the way, your friend Jed is not insane. I just wanted to let you know that. I had to confirm it.
Well, why are you? I don't think that you necessarily are the authority on that.
Miss Ellie, you watched him leave with Jet. You've probably got a pretty good idea what the hell he means by that, because you knew where Jet was going, right?
Yeah.
What you shoot, fella? Oh, I'm sorry, Ellie. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. But I'm also like, saw Jet like staring at Alice, and Alice kind of shoot back, and I know where both of them are, but both of them kind of, I'm like, I know Alice doesn't want me saying anything, but also like Jet's like my closest friend here, so Ellie's just kind of like awkwardly standing there, like, oh, I don't like this position.
Meanwhile, Lucius is distracted by the pretty.
Maybe I'm invisible. Maybe.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, like getting out of their way and just being like, I'm just gonna stand here and hope everybody sorts their own shit out, and I'm just gonna like pretend I'm.
I go up to Alice, like, how did you do this? Like, I'm like admiration tinker to tinker. This is amazing.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, I'll put it down. Look what I made. Look at this. Okay, I showed the shovel, and then do the
shovel.
Thing. No.
What in the what?
Right? Let's make the ghost steal
And Alice says, I could take a moving picture of you shinking your shovel.
That sounds dirty, but.
Now here, what? Get your head out of the gutter, Jet.
Why'd you have to take it there?
Jet didn't say that. Anyway,
she says I could take a picture of you doing that, and we can kind of like almost create we can create a moving image of your invention, of all inventions. And Alice,
you should call these
into like
they're moving images. You should call them movies.
Would you just?
Oh boy,
that's $1 billion idea right there. You can have it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Just if you don't mind, just don't expose my face, or I would prefer if you kept my name out of it.
Actually,
I like my privacy.
You know what? Ellie would look really cool if she was holding that shovel and did it. You would be such you are a badass, but you would be such a badass in a picture like that.
And I kind of elbow Willie just like very lightly, and I just kind of lean in, and I'm like, I didn't really have much consent about being in that picture, and I don't know. You think like part of my soul's in there or something? It seems kind of weird to have another me running around.
Boy, I think if half of your soul was in there, your friend wouldn't have as much interest in you.
That's fair.
Miss Alice, I didn't want to interrupt.
Anyway.
I didn't want to interrupt, but when Lucius said, "Don't put my face in here," the badge twitched. Wherever you've got it.
What?
What, the one that Alice has?
Yep.
Baptiste? Oh god.
Yep.
Oh, it tells you who's guilty. Shh, I need to be quiet.
Well, then what she said following that would, I guess, go a little bit differently.
Okay, so yeah, at that point he says
no,
that.
you know what? No, it wouldn't, because she's clocking that for later.
Yep.
All right.
Actually, so it's more of a like, she gives him kind of a look, and she's like, "Your face, what?" And then because she's trying to distract everybody from the reason that they came over here, and so she's like, what? But anyway, and she goes back into talking about the picture and she tells him the process. She's like, yeah, so I made the daguerreotype out of the goat. I had the blacksmith make a daguerreotype out of the ghost steel, and then when I exposed the image, it smoked, and then when we looked at it, it moves like that. I'm trying to work on a way that I can make it like expose it longer and do longer images or bigger or something.
Okay. Well, after about 3 seconds of that, I've glazed over.
We're just having a tinker nerding out like all this techno moments.
And she's also like, anytime there's a lull in the photograph conversation, she's like poking at his scythe, like, how did you get it to, and then
just kind of
explaining
the like conversation towards the door as you go.
Yeah. And so I imagine they're like pulling out blueprints and like,
that kind of just tinker mumbo jumbo basically back and forth.
Willie lights a cigar and just sits in an empty chair. He doesn't care whose it is.
Well, Mr. Willie, there might be another gentleman. Colonel, I'm sorry. I thought we were more familiar. My apologies. Colonel.
We could be as familiar as you like, son, but I did not lead so many men into battle on horseback to be called Mister.
All right. Well, Colonel, there may or may not be another gentleman of whom Miss Ellie is quite acquainted that you might find interest in meeting in this town, because quite frankly, this conversation is boring me, and there's just a flick of that look at Miss Alice again, but just a flick, and then just like, so, Miss Ellie, do you think Charlie would be available at this moment?
Well, seeing as how the saloon's still not rebuilt, I can't imagine he would be anywhere else.
That's fair. And Colonel, I may be able to help you out with some of that ammunition you may be looking for.
Well, I'll be much obliged for that, Mr. Deputy. Show the way. Then on the way out, I'm going to, if you could take that picture of Mr. Lucius, what you do is you just get like a square of wood, paint it black, and hold it in front of his face. And then you can take the picture of him, and nobody got to see his face. You can have that one for free. And he just walks out with
the very first censored bar and the phrase movies.
Yeah. Like as he walks out, she's like, I mean that's a pretty basic idea, but I guess it could work. And she's kind of like
and his over history, his initials get mistaken, and everybody thought they were MGM. Anyway,
just before, I'm assuming Alice is kind of pushing me out the door, right?
Miss Alice is certainly trying to move the conversation inside.
Is there a library of some sort in this?
The closest would be Dan's sort of records, his copies, his back copies.
Well, that doesn't work to get him out.
My pen right just like heart skipped. Library.
I don't want.
For timing, who's going to the bar or to the remains, the rebuilding bar?
I am, and I'm leading Willie, and I'm gonna give him some ammo on the way, but I got to talk to him about what he shoots first.
Oh, perfect.
I'm gonna try to get everybody to leave and be like, oh, I need to send a telegram or something. I don't like.
Yep. After working everybody over to the door, you suddenly head back into the building.
I'll catch up with you later.
Just before you go out the door, mannerisms kind of kick in, and I realized I didn't even introduce myself to Dad.
Yep.
So good. Through all the excitement, I didn't introduce myself. Lucius, Glory.
And he tries to rub his hand clean, even though it's covered in ink, and it's not going to, he rubs it on his pants and holds out his hand. He says, Dan Comfort, Veritas Dispatch, all jobs.
I don't think we met, or maybe very briefly at the tracks. Just
I don't remember a whole lot of that night, sir. That was a pretty busy night. But damn, we got some nights. Oh, Miss Alice, if we had these images on that night.
Oh my goodness, I know. I have thought about that so many times. You don't even know. I have.
Are you two talking about the night that I got crushed by a train?
Yeah, which was very tragic. However, if I could have gotten a picture of that smoke blowing.
There's the Miss Alice we know and love.
Is it a good question? One question, Kevin. Is there any familiarity to him?
Absolutely none. Okay. Not a bit. No. This is a little middle-aged man who appears completely unassuming.
Okay.
So the only one I don't know, Lucius, are you going to the ruins of the bar, or are you going somewhere else? Because Miss Alice is kicking your ass out of the office.
Well, I have a book to read, so I'll probably go to my room to read.
Okay. In that case, for timing, and I do see the time, and I will get you your break in just a minute. The three of you head to the Broken Bar.
With the three of us?
Because you said you and Jet and Willie, right?
No, I was staying. Going. No, I was staying here. I didn't get my
just these two were going.
Answers from
okay.
Miss Alice.
Okay, so just these two are heading to the bar. Okay, so and you're staying with Miss Alice at the.
Yeah.
Okay, and Lucius is staying or heading back to the hotel. Okay, in that case. There is no dramatic bomb drop, and we will go and take our break right now, and we will come back and figure out these three things all in a row when we get back.
Oh boy!
Kind of the anti-climax there.
That's suspicious, Kevin.
It's very suspicious.
Marty, save me, Marty.
Hey, it's all right. Marty's always here for you. Hey, y'all, don't forget that. Give us that there follow if you ain't done so yet, because when we get to 800 followers, it's our next milestone. What we need, like 15 more? I don't know. And we're going to do another giveaway. We got a cool little spell book thing that holds your spell cards. Willie's got that over there, and he'll send it out to you if you win that drawing. And then after that, we got another little dice chest from Elderwood Academy. One of them keychains ones with the mini dice. It's pretty. But make sure you follow all that stuff. And don't mind while we run a quick ad. That's just so that folks who come in after the first half don't have to watch an ad at the beginning. They can just jump right in that fun. We're going to take our normal break there just under 15 minutes. We'll be back. All right. Oh no, the buttons are broken. Hold on. There we go. Oh, wait. Shit. All right.
Yes, the DM played with just himself. What a challenge rating. I guess that's why they call it Dungeon Master. 2012-10-864. Screw you, DM, today. To hell with your stupid game. We're walking out the door. And of course you must agree, when the party gets too strong, the DM has a plan to take your treasure all along. Our party followed forth a lead given by the DM, and we boarded a ship to make his plot move quicker to our end. Then a storm beset us and a giant squid attacked. The ship so cracked and then we sank into the sea so black. Our bag of holding opened, we lost all our treasure. So tell me, Mr. DM, was this business or just pleasure? 2012-10-864. Screw you, DM, today. To sign up. Stupid game, we're walking out the
Hello there, adventurers. It's your old pal Lenny here to tell you about some exciting news. As we come up on our 1-year streamiversary, we've had many comments from our audience saying, "This game looks like so much fun. I'd love to play with you guys. Well, now you have not just one, but two opportunities to do so. The first way is to simply go over to our Patreon page and sign up at the hero level. That's $25 per month. In addition to other fun perks you'll get, you'll also have the opportunity each month to play in a special supporter game with Puck as the DM. But if you're thinking, no, I want Puck all to myself with my friends at the table, well, there's a way you can have that too. We're trying to reach our goal of raising $500 for Extra Life by the end of this year. So, until we meet that goal, anyone who donates $10 or more to Extra Life through our link down in the panels below will be entered into a raffle to win a private game with Puck as your DM. That's right, you and up to 4 of your friends can play in a game at Puck's table. You'll also have the option to be joined in-game by one of the Avalon Knights Academy players. This is for a great cause and a great opportunity for you and your friends to play in the world of the Avalon Knights Academy. Both the Patreon and Extra Life links can be found in the panels below, so check them out while we enjoy this video during the break.
Hello, my name's Kevin, this is Dirty 20 Gaming, and this week I'm talking about rolling less dice and describing the results. I know, rolling less dice sounds like heresy to gamers, but hear me out. I only let my players roll if, 1, there's a chance of success. The classic case is the bard who gets busted in a foreign castle 20 feet away from the king's chambers, rolls a 20 and talks his way out of it. That's crap. Guards aren't that stupid. It doesn't matter if he rolls a 28 total result on his die. For one thing, critical successes only count on attacks, not on persuasion rolls. And secondly, I don't care if he did roll a 28. Court guards aren't stupid. They found an odd person 20 feet from the king's chambers. They're going to jail. So don't let them roll unless there's a chance of success. Secondly, don't let them roll unless you need a randomized result. Not every action needs a roll. If there's no time pressure and the door's not trapped and getting into this room isn't essential to the plot, let the rogue pick the lock. Don't make him roll. If he fails, he's just going to wait 5 minutes and roll again, so just let him pick the lock. That does change, as I said, if there's time pressure or if that's essential or if it's a very difficult lock. Then, of course, you make them roll. But for standard stuff, I know it's funny, but don't get your party trapped behind a locked door for 45 minutes because nobody can roll over a 12. Unless you're looking for comedy effect, in which case, go ahead. Now, here's where I crossed the line into what most players would consider gaming heresy. Not every attack needs to be rolled. I said it real slow so you can hear me. I'll say it again. Not all attacks need to be rolled. If you've got a 5th level party going up against a horde of kobolds, don't have them roll and roll and roll and roll and roll. Just assume that each one of them takes out 1 or 2 per round. Keep the math simple. Describe what they see, but don't make them roll and roll and roll and roll and roll. On the other side of that, the kobolds are going to have a hard time hitting your party, so absolutely make them roll. But to speed up these huge monstrous combats like that, just describe each turn how the player destroys 2 kobolds with the swing of a sword, or the smash of a mace, or a fireball spell, taking out a whole room full of them. Only roll if there's a chance of success, a chance of failure, and you need a random result. this idea of not rolling really comes into its own with skills based on role-playable scenes, for lack of a better phrase. If your characters are good at roleplay and they're role-playing their skills and their stats well, then let that roleplay decide whether they succeed or not. Don't make them roll. On the other hand, and this is an important proviso, some players have characters with a high stat or a high skill that the player does not share with the character, and they can't or won't or aren't capable of role-playing it well. In that instance, let those players roll, and then it's up to you as the DM to describe what happened. I have kind of a rule of thumb for this. If a character in 5e, make your modifications for other systems if you're using them, but in 5e, if your character has +5 or higher on a skill or a stat, I let them accomplish most of their attempts. I only have them roll if what they're doing is truly difficult. An important point here, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to come back to it. In 5e, critical fails only apply to attacks. So there's no reason to have your party members rolling in hopes that they might roll a 1 and mess it all up. That's not how the system works if you're playing it rules as written. So let me give you an example. You've got a character in your game that has an insight modifier of +7. Just tell them what the other people in the room are feeling and whether they're being lied to, unless the target is repressing their response or specifically trying to hide their reaction. Most people don't most of the time. When you surprise somebody, you can tell. And that's me, and I do not have an insight modifier of +7. So in other words, unless it's a challenge or unless somebody is specifically trying to deceive them, let most of these go. Don't let them roll. Just tell them they succeeded. Now, whether you have them roll or not, we are entering part 2 of this video now. Whether you have them roll or not, describe the results if they don't. Describe the location and the damage of each attack. Tell them about the sweat on the brow of their opponent after a successful intimidation. And again, if a player isn't able or willing to role-play a scene, for example, you've got a really nice player and they're just not comfortable being an intimidating ass, don't make them. Have them roll, and then you, as the DM, describe what happened. Do it for them. If you do it enough, you might, just might, get them to try to RP it next time, or the time after that, or the time after that. I got an extra note here. This is kind of an add-on. Feel free to have a successful roll have unintended benefits. So have an opponent drop their shield. Their armor class goes down by 2. Or have them knocked back a step. Or maybe they even surrender from the power of a single strike. Now, whether they stay surrendered or not is up to you and up to the party. Do they tie them up? Do they watch them? Anything can happen. But have those benefits added on to successes. Make successes more special. And again, even if they didn't roll, if it's an obvious success, still describe what happened and still describe, not every time, but sometimes, describe that added extra benefit that they gained. So to summarize real quick, only get your players and your NPCs to roll when there's a chance of failure and when a random result is needed. And when rolls are made, or not, describe the results. Don't, for goodness sakes, be this DM. 14 hits, roll damage. 6 points damage. Okay. Don't do that. Be this DM. Your mace smashes into the orc's rib cage. You hear the crack of his ribs and his breath oozes into your face. It smells so bad it nearly makes you sick. You can see his rotten black teeth clack shut in pain. Not better? Right. So, in all of these videos that I have ever done, it's been pointed out that I have never mentioned this, but apparently it's really helpful to my channel if you like and subscribe. So if this was helpful, if you enjoyed it, please do click those buttons below. Apparently it makes a difference. But enough of that foolishness, enough about that. Until next time, as always, thanks for watching and game creatively. Bye.
The door. Once I was a roguish bard, dark and suave and cool. But the DM, he had other plans in this world of radiant pools. First I got a magic girdle, changed me to a girl. I thought, okay, interesting, I'll give the girl a whirl.
Hey there, partner. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that video with some, some thoughts and some musings on the whole thing and the playing the games from Kevin here. But speaking of getting inside of Kevin's weird head, let's get back to the show.
And just to let you know how weird the head is, I shaved it so you could see it all.
Ho ho!
It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm bald. Absolutely nothing.
No.
And a promise I made myself when I was 20, looking in the mirror. When this starts to fall out, I'm just going to shave my head, I said. Anyway, back to our little game. Let's start on the way to the broken bar. One-Eyed Willie and Jet, you are heading down the street towards the... well, Jet, it's been, I think, a whole day since you've been to this place. Willie, you have seen it only in passing. Jet, it's like 75% done. And it's still only Charlie and Anastasia doing the work.
All right.
As you get a little closer and you can see, you watch Anastasia walk past with a huge, like 6x6 by 12 foot long beam on her shoulder. She just walks past and she spins it around and sort of reaches up with, and you're thinking that's got to be like hundreds of pounds of wood. And as she lifts it up, it almost floats out of her fingers about 2 feet up and then slides in on top of these other two and back into its place. And you hear the, by now, even for you, fairly familiar noise of oh, that's better. And Charlie's sitting in a chair, straightening up, rotating his one shoulder.
Oh. So,
Gentlemen, good to see you. Welcome to the club.
howdy, Charlie. This is a new acquaintance of ours, Colonel Willie.
Colonel Wauneed. Colonel William Wauneed Weston.
Once you get it right, son. Once you get it right. gives you a little half-assed salute. There's just enough in that salute to let you know he was a soldier. Like, it's just snotty enough to be not quite right in the perfect sort of you can't quite bust me for that way.
I see. Oh, nice place here. Jet's showing me around. I'm on the lookout for some of this ghost rock ammunition.
Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that on the way over here. What do you shoot, Colonel?
I shoot. What do I shoot? I shoot some things.
Yes,
Well,
you've got ammunition for it.
Bullets mostly.
I am not going to be the ammunition Nazi.
I shoot
Oh, no,
bullets
that's
mostly.
45
I
and that's
mean,
38. And
no.
It's ammo.
I carry the standard issue Colt Army along with my Winchester 76.
So a rifle and a pistol.
For the purposes of the mechanics of this game, yes.
Yes, boy, a rifle and a pistol.
I'm sorry, Colonel. It's simpler that way, and I'm digging through pockets. You see, I'm more of a shot.
Just has some like piles of lint.
You see, I'm more of a shotgun man myself when it comes down to it. I prefer for whatever I'm dealing with to be gone as long as it ain't a person. If it's a person, I'll use a pistol. But
so you prefer to address your shots to whom it may concern?
Yes, sir. I'm grinning. And I just pull out 5 Ghost Steel pistol and 5 Ghost Steel rifle ammo. And I'm just like, here you are, sir. Well, this is what we've had crafted in this town so far. So here's something for you.
Magnificent. Tucks them neatly in his holster where they go, not loosely in pockets like loose change.
Look, and if you need any special products or projects, and I just kind of make a point of adjusting my star, which if you look is made out of Ghost Steel. I was like, you can let
that ain't much good unless you're planning to hit somebody with it.
I think it'll let those who need to know who I am.
You could tell them.
Anastasia puts one more beam in place, and then she dusts her hands and walks around the corner out of sight, and you hear the actual sounds of hammers and nails. Bang, 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 bang.
Doing a little bit of reconstruction around here.
You could say that. Yep.
You could say surgery too.
He looks he's still, I mean, Jet, every time you see him, he's always healing, but there's always still something wrong with him. Like, the last time you watched 5 or 6 ribs pop back, 2 of those are gone again, but one of them pops back as you watch. It's a very strange process. Like, he's taking the damage multiple times.
How the hell ain't you right yet, Charlie?
I've had some projects on the side. And you can see him looking around the 2 of you to see if anybody else came with you.
Ellie ain't here, my friend. She'll, I reckon she'd come, but she stayed back with Miss Ellis. Al.
Well, that Ellie girl sure is popular around here.
You have no idea.
Apparently, I don't.
She's probably the only normal, good-hearted soul I've met around here.
Well, don't you worry, son. Now you got me. That's 2.
I would like to buy both of you a drink. And he reaches down under the table and just pulls out an almost full bottle of scotch and just plunks it no glasses, just plunks. There's no top on it. Just plunks it on the middle of the table in front of you.
Oh, I like you already. Pours a drink. Pours 2 for himself. Takes them both. You want one?
He's got his own bottle, and he has no glasses.
Referring to Jet.
Okay, yeah.
I prefer not to drink on the job, but I'll take a sip. Not to be.
You know that thing that a good alcoholic does with a long neck beer, where they hold it with 3 fingers, like 2 fingers on this side and 1 finger wrapped around the other side, and they can use the leverage all night to drink like that. He's doing this with a 40-pounder of rye. And he's just knocking back shots, just one after another, and showing no signs of impairment.
Charlie here happens to be a fellow user of the arcane, if you will.
I see. Can't seem to get himself liquored up.
And he looks over at you and goes, Willie, and goes, boogie, woogie, woogie. and then goes back to being stone cold sober, like it was an act. Right?
Absolutely terrifying. I see my share of strange things in the wall.
He has about 3 more shots, and he says, "Colonel, was it?
Indeed, it was.
Can you imagine never being able to get drunk again?" Dunk, 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 dunk. About half the bottle, puts it down.
Well, perhaps you're just looking at it the wrong way. You get to enjoy the finest taste of all the most delicious liquors in the world, and it ain't never going to go sideways on you. You're never going to wake up sick in the morning, and heck, you ain't never going to have no impaired judgment neither.
And he laughs, and he because one of the ribs hurts, and he reaches into this pocket. He's wearing like it's all beat up and dirty, but it's for all the world it looks like a riverboat gambler's outfit. It's the little tight black jacket, the white shirt, the little string tie, the black and gray striped pants, and the polished shoes. And he reaches into the pocket of these pants. You can only get 2 fingers in there. It's like 70s jeans, like they're that tight. And he pulls out this little key about this big, and he just flicks it to you, Willie. He says, "There's a cabinet under the counter you might enjoy."
Oh, so I'm a tingle. He goes over.
And he points you over, and you open up this cupboard with the key, and there are 8 bottles across the top, 8 bottles across the bottom, 4 in each door, 4 in each door. So there's, 16, 24, 32 bottles fronting. And the center cabinet, you look in, it goes as far as you can see. And it's just bottles and bottles and bottles and bottles. It's like one of those infinite mirrored halls. Just bottles all the way back. You stand up and look, and this, the thing's only this deep, right?
Goes on forever.
But you look back inside, and it's just like the TARDIS in there.
Nice. Oh, son, you didn't tell me you were blessed.
And Jet, you're sitting at the table, and you hear him mutter under his breath, "Yes, I'm blessed." And you remember, because you've been told, right? He has to keep the puka drunk.
Have I been
It sobers
told?
up, it's going to raise hell.
I guess somebody had to have told me by now.
You guys, you found that out when you healed him, I
visited
think.
the bar last time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I recall from episode 4.
And yeah, from next door, bang, 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 hammer, nails, saw.
Last time
building.
Last time I checked, you didn't need hammer and nail to fix this place. What's she working on?
Oh, she's building the AKA. Anastasia's Canadian Adventuring Company.
Oh, now that sounds fascinating.
She's been telling, she looks at you, Willie. She's been telling me about this fella she met in Canada. Big fella. Patch over one eye.
Huh. You don't say.
Huh, indeed.
I did spend a little bit of time up there. Perhaps I know the fella. I was mostly with the Cree up there, but
Anastasia! He yells, and she comes around the corner, and this woman, Valkyrie, is the only word that, like,
Dun,
she's
dun, dun, dun,
6.5 feet tall. You saw her carrying these 6x6 logs around. She's wearing, okay, here we go. I'm Canadian. Send me the letters all you want. She's wearing a seal skin suit, but with fur around it. The collar's pulled down like it's winter gear, and she's got fur around the wrists, and there's like the mittens on strings hanging out. They're really fashionable, and knee-high boots. And her makeup's fully done, and she walks up to you, and there's just a fog of pure alcohol preceding her. It's vodka, so there's no smell. It's just, whoa. And she steps up. "Hello, I am Anastasia, and you are?"
Enchanted. I am Colonel. I am Colonel William Juanede Weston, and it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, madam.
I need to break the game for 5 seconds. Do you want to be?
No, I'm not him, but I may have known him.
I had to give you the option. It's It's your world. I had to give
No,
you the
he's too
Okay.
mysterious. I can't bring him
Yeah,
as a PC.
She, in that case, she back into the game. She looks at you and shakes your hand, and your whole body moves like she.
Oh yeah, and Willie is
hideously
loving
powerful.
every inch of this. Willie wants to climb this woman like a tree. Like he's just loving every. This is everything he's ever wanted.
Jet.
Oh, thanks.
You see Anastasia do the big shake, and Willie just lights up like a Christmas tree. You look over, Anastasia lights up like a Christmas tree. The rouge standing out against her pale white skin, her red hair blowing in a non-existent wind.
No, that's okay. I get it.
Oh no, I'm not done. She scoops Willie, boom, like the bride across her threshold, and just turns around, and Willie, unless you resist, she's heading out the door with you.
Willie's loving every minute of it. She's like, "Don't wait up, Jet. I'm going to paradise of my own."
And you hear from behind you Charlie say, I don't think they've met. As she heads out the door with Willie in her arms.
Ooh. I think I do need a drink, and I just take a long pull on that bottle.
I want to make a video with everyone else's reactions.
Oh, somebody will clip it.
So, Jet, you are all alone in the bar. This might be a good, maybe, should I give you a moment?
You're welcome to. I'll just sit there in the corner and just...
You and Charlie just drinking and shaking your heads. Just, no. Back at the Paradise Dispatch. Miss Alice, Miss Ellie.
Yeah.
You have no idea that happened.
No.
Unfortunate for us.
Before
Okay.
you start, Kevin, if I may.
Yep.
Through all the excitement, and if you will allow this, did I forget my glasses on the desk?
Oh, that is borderline metagaming.
Well, I'm not wearing them, technically.
I know you're not wearing
I took them off. I did
right.
take them off.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to roll 1d100, and I am going to give you a 5% chance. So if I roll 0-1 to 0-5, you left them behind.
What? What?
So, halfway to the saloon.
Yep. Probably noticed Willie being whisked away. Maybe not.
Maybe.
Just like run past.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I walked out, I'm like, wait a minute.
So you turn around and walk back. Miss Alice, Miss Ellie, what does he open the door to see?
Um,
Let's just hope he opens the right door. I do not want to have to explain any more of what's happening with Anastasia and the Colonel.
As soon as everybody else leaves, I'm just going to turn to Alice and be like, nice try, but that's not going to work on me. What happened with Baptiste?
well, technically nothing.
Well, look, I saw his reaction when he walked in, and I saw whatever happened with Dan with that seal, that tin.
Wait, what his reaction when he walked in, like to when he saw me?
He looked like he'd seen a ghost, like someone had. I just saw him horrified, and that was a new kind of horrified. Clearly, whatever you did spooked him. And that man is not the type to get spooked.
Well, that's not good. But why didn't he take it? Why wouldn't he? If he was...
Alice!
Why wouldn't he? What?
What did you do?
And Alice is gonna she's gonna just pull the thing out, and you know how you like flip a coin towards somebody? She's just gonna flip it like that towards Ellie, hoping that Ellie will instinctively just like without thinking about it.
And it hits your hands.
Oh god.
And
I need to stop getting sucked into other games.
This is very similar. I mean, I'm assuming you guys are going to compare notes after. But this one, maybe this thing's getting warmed up. Maybe third time's the charm. You don't experience 2 gunfights or 3 gunfights or 5 gunfights. You experience dozens. Maybe it's because you're not a gunfighter by trade, but they're horrific. People are dying around you, people on your side, people on their side. And through it all, and all the action, while all the action's going on, you are in the mind of a stone cold killer. They're in the middle of a gunfight. Their heartbeat isn't even up. You can hear it, just the dump. They're winning because they're paying attention. They're winning because there's no panic. Dozens of battles. Hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Hit a couple times here and there, but just endless, deadly precision. Followed every single time by self-loathing and sadness. Infinite sadness as he looks down after every gun battle on all these faces. And they're all so young. Miss Alice, she caught it, started to like grand mal seizure and grabbed the front of your dress. You couldn't have got away if you wanted to. And she's just shaking and vibrating in front of you. And then she backs off and blinks.
Alice will pluck the thing back out of her, like pluck the tin back out of her hand. And put it back away.
She like backs up against the wall and she's shaking and she starts tearing.
You saw hundreds of dead. Some of them were your friends. Some of them were your enemies. Some of them just got in the way.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. How many did I see? Was it, what'd you say, 2 or 3?
You saw 2 battles.
2, okay.
Yeah. You didn't ask Dan.
I saw 2 different gunfights. What, Dan?
He looks at you and says, I only saw the corral.
Oh, he actually. What did you see? What did you see? 4 or 5, Ellie?
The corral was one of the ones that you saw.
Oh,
but
okay.
There was many.
Yeah.
She's just gonna kind of like slide down until she's sitting and almost like curls up into a ball and just tens, hundreds. I don't know. There's so many. How could they? How could anybody hurt? Where did you find that?
Well, that's the thing. Look, you know about Dan, and there's probably some other things in this town you've figured out, but you haven't really said anything. But I made a promise not to reveal the secrets. This thing, though, made no promises.
It's Baptiste, isn't it? That's why he was so spooked.
I guess because Did she see? She saw Dan with the it looked like he was electrified, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna say, I guess maybe he saw me, like that, and figured it. I don't know.
Bang! The door opens up and Lucius comes in. I forgot my glasses.
I scream. And
She's sitting on the floor, like kind of in the corner already, and then
Alice is gonna, because I can't sit down in this dress on the floor as it is right now, so I'm gonna unbutton the boop, 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 pop all the buttons, and then sit down on the floor next to Ellie, like cross-legged, facing her, like.
Dan leans down and pulls open the bottom drawer and pulls out a bottle. It's not the wine, it's just a bottle of something clear in a bottle with a cork in it. And he doesn't even look. He just puts it on the floor and scoots it across the floor like the drink down the bar thing over to where the two of you are sitting. And he looks up at Lucius and he says, I believe they're on the table over there, sir.
Yes. I feel like I always seem to miss something. What's going on here?
Alice is gonna.
Yes, you do, sir. And he heads up and starts to head towards Lucius.
Alice is gonna pull the key out, and she's gonna hand it up in the air to Dan. If he's the key to the in the doctor's thing, where she locked the dead bodies up.
Okay, yeah.
She's gonna pull the key out and hand it up, and she's gonna say, "I think there are some dead in the offices in the doctor's quarters that need to be taken care of."
Oh, right. I think you had mentioned that.
Yeah, as he walks past you, Dan gives you just a split second of Daniel Clark grin. Alice, as you go by, and he just plucks the key out of your hand. Yes, well, I guess I don't need the moving pictures, do I? They're dead, but let's go. And he grabs a camera on a stand and trying very clearly, Lucius, plain as day, he's trying to get you out of here. He's pointing at your glasses on the table where you left them.
I just give Alice a look of suspicion, and I look to Ellie a bit, what's going on here kind of look.
Alice will Alice will look at Ellie, and it's not the stare, but it's kind of like a, please don't. Just the face, it's like, please, it's too much. Just try to convey, it's too much that you know already.
Yeah, I mean, the look when he looks over there is, I was going to say, it's two people leaning against the wall who have just been kicked right in the psyche.
Ellie's she's not even meeting his eye. She's pure white and has clearly been crying, but is trying to stop herself from breaking down in front of people. She has enough self-control.
Yeah. And Alice is pulling a flask out of her purse that is very weirdly shaped. You probably have never seen one shaped like that. Lucius probably has not, but it's weirdly shaped. And unscrews the lid and hands it to Ellen too.
So now you've got your choice between good vodka or bad Everclear, but there's a lot more of the Everclear.
She's gonna shake her head and be like, never.
I'm gonna shrug.
Don't deal with pain like that.
I'm gonna shrug, and the Anastasia vodka and then of course Alan.
Dan looks up at you, Lucius, and it's up. You're tall. He's not. Little sort of middle-aged man, a little greasy in the face, losing some hair, and he looks up at you and says, "You have trouble with taking a hint, son?"
No, but I know when something's up.
I'll ask you again. Do you have trouble taking a hint? And he opens the door.
I get you. I was just about to leave. I take my glasses, put them on, and just kind of give you guys both one more look. I'm like, okay then. I keep walking.
And he gets you outside, and he stops and says, "I didn't mean to be rude, son, but go get a drink or something, would you?"
And I just give him a look. Yeah, I'd give them a look. It's like, they're okay, right? Just the stare.
And he looks at you like you have just spoken in a foreign language. And he says, hell no, son. Didn't you see them? I told you they needed a minute. They're dealing with it your way. You go have a drink and deal with it our way.
Very good, then. Just don't let it shaken up.
And he watches you walk away and stays there right in front of the door of Paradise Dispatch. He is on guard.
That just makes me even more suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit, like, pissed, actually.
Willie, we're not coming back to you. No, not yet. Jet sitting in the bar with Charlie. The sudden lack of hammering and sawing next door, telling a story you'd rather not hear right now. I love doing this to Sky.
There's definitely some hammering happening.
Stop! No, listen. There is no nailing. There is no hammering. Here's the real thing. The real question I wanted to ask. You said they walked straight out the front. Did they go into the woods? Are they?
Did you go to look?
No, but I mean, is the front of the building put back together, or is it still open?
We found a secluded
What do you want
stream.
me to tell you? There's an entire copse of trees in the distance going like this. What do you?
I just think, in my mind, it'd be infinitely funnier to me personally if I just thought they didn't even go back to some hotel or something.
Oh no. There's going to be large swathes of the wilderness that will never be the same.
Oh God. All right. Well, it was fun.
Moose with deep emotional scars.
It's like from miles away, all the animals turn and look.
Yeah, a shudder passes through the wilderness.
Um,
And that wasn't the animals.
I'm just gonna anything to be busy right now. Not that I really care, because I don't know the man or the woman that well. So it's just like, well, that's what people do. So I'm just gonna kind of absentmindedly start picking up whatever I can and straightening and putting, if I can find boards to put back in the wall or whatever, trying to straighten up the bar. And I'm gonna start a conversation with Charlie while I'm doing that. Just like after a little bit of silence has passed, I'm just gonna be like, so what put you in touch with the things outside of all of the regular people?
And there's a long silence, and he's staring at you, and you can tell he's trying to decide whether he trusts you or not. And eventually he has another huge drink, reaches under the table and pulls out yet another bottle that wasn't there a minute ago. Apparently he doesn't even need his cupboard. When he doesn't want to get up, he doesn't have to get up. And he looks at you and he says, indirectly, sir, I would have to say that murdering a man got me here. Although it got me a hell of a long ways from here. To be honest, you're not the one I thought I'd tell this to.
That's fair.
And there's a huge long pause after that. He goes through another half a bottle. You man a few words, but a lot of questions.
It seems these days all I've got are questions, sir.
You want one answer?
I'll take what I can get.
He reaches inside his vest and pulls out a crumpled, about a half a deck now. It's probably up to 26, 27 cards, but they're wrinkled and water soaked, and some of them are burned around the edges. And he just puts them on the middle of the table and he says, shuffle them and turn one of them over for me.
All right. And I go up and cut or whatever. I'm sure I've used cards before.
Yeah, you shuffled this. I mean, it's hard to do because they don't fit real well. Go ahead and draw a card. Put it face up in the middle of the screen.
Oh shit! Like a real game mechanic thing.
I hope you don't draw something boring thing.
I don't disappoint.
2 of spades.
Put it up there.
Oh shit.
Huh. Wow. Okay.
It's not boring.
That is definitely not boring.
No, that's
Jet
You look
erupts
back up at Charlie, and he's wearing, I've told you before, that flat cap looks suspiciously like Penn's hat. Actually, it's kind of what inspired it. It's just a flat brim and the short, flat body above it. He reaches up and puts his hand on that and lifts it, and the whole face comes with. And as he takes it away, it's like a veil hanging off of a hat. And there's a much older man sitting in front of you. And he puts the hat on the table. He says, my name is Charlie. But you know Miss Ellie? She once called me Uncle Charlie. And he takes the cards off the table, leaving the Joker sitting there in the middle of the table. He says, I like that one too. And it just poof, into smoke and blows away.
What did you just do?
I just trusted you, and I have no idea why. And he starts putting that, like dropping the veil and the hat back on and tucking it in. And he's staring at you just like it's 50% what the hell did I just do, and 50% can I trust you?
She doesn't. And I kind of stop. She don't know, does she?
Nope. I was supposed to tell her when I saw her. I've been waiting 20 years.
Why? Wait, why?
You're going to need another drink.
I don't.
Yeah, you do. And I will ask you one time. And his hand comes down on your wrist across the table, and he means this. Do you want me to tell you?
Do you know the price I'll have to pay to know?
No one is the price.
And I'll pay.
And he leans back from you, takes the hat off again, and there's this older man. And he stops for a second, and he looks at you, and he says, you know her quite well? It's not a question, it's a statement. You know her as well as anyone. As anyone here. You seen how she's a little touchy? There's a very specific man that is responsible for that. And that son of a bitch is my brother. Her father. And when I found out what that son of a bitch did to her, I fucking killed him. We had a plan. Me and her brother. We had a spell. Deck of cards, son of a bitch. And we dealt that hand. And I don't know where he went. But I went 22 years back in time and halfway around this goddamn globe. Before I got back, I had me a passenger. And I've been waiting here 20 years to tell that girl her brother didn't do it. And then I saw her, and I couldn't say it. And he takes the hat, puts it back on, starts tucking it in.
That's your
Now
baby.
you know.
Now I know. That's your business, sir. I can tell you my thoughts, but I'm sure you don't need to hear them. So
I don't, sir, to be honest. There's a couple things I haven't told you that I'd rather just tell her when the time comes.
I hope you find the time, sir. She's a good person.
Almost seems like she doesn't like to hang around down here. It's like I make her uncomfortable.
And I look genuinely confused. For like a moment, all that heavy just kind of shakes off because I'm just like, sir, I don't understand. Because for all I know, this is where she feels the most at home, from what I've seen.
And he grins and has a huge drink. I hope so. I hope so. Can you, send her?
Of course. And I stand up. And I'm out. Not a second thought.
Yeah, you know where she is.
Is she still with Miss Alice? Was that where I left?
It's the last place you saw them.
Yeah. I'll head back there and go find her.
So the two of you are sitting in the Paradise Dispatch on the floor drinking.
Yep.
The door opens again. You're just about to open your mouth and yell at Lucius and maybe give Dan shit for letting somebody in, but it's Dan holding the door.
Oh.
And behind him in the light, you can see Jet, who looks like somebody just killed all his dogs.
Alice is like, oh shit. She says, Ellie, darling, as much as I would love to have this conversation with you, it does not look like we are going to have that conversation today.
She's actually been like gripping the flower in her thing the whole time, just like breathing and just.
And she's going to say, like, as fast as she can before, she's going to say, these memories that we've seen, I don't think they're Baptiste, but.
They're not. You guys are both absolutely sure of that.
Did I hear that?
It's not his.
I'm whispering this like under my breath, like when I. Like,
I was like.
I assumed that Dan had opened the door. They'd had this quick conversation, and then you had sort of been waited to be invited in, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know it's not him, but I found it on him, so he's connected to it somehow, based on what other things I've learned. But he asked me not to say anything. And the only reason I'm telling you is because I know damn sure this ain't the first secret you've kept in this town. And with that, Alice will get up and offer a hand to help Ellie get up.
She takes it, but she's like shaking still. And I just kind of
Has
give her
Ellie
a
had a
nod.
drink yet? Or has she had a drink at all? Nope. Okay.
Ellie's
Alice?
not touching it.
Okay.
Alice had just like that first sip.
A stiffener?
And then, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jet
Ellie won't touch
standing
it.
at the
Alice
door
is more of
looking-
a wine girl.
Yeah.
I pass Jet out of curiosity.
You see, you look over your shoulder, kind of still pissy at Dan, and you see Jet arrive at the door, say a couple words to Dan, and then be let in.
Okay. I just look back like, I guess I'll go for that drink then.
I'm paying you off for this. I'm going to give you a couple hours of tinkering time. So you head back to your room, get a bottle at the saloon, up the stairs, and start tinkering on the next step.
Tinkering my frustrations.
You're tinkering. He's wrecking the foliage. The three of you.
Look, if you're really, if you're really concerned, you can come find me.
Easy to find. Follow the screaming.
But yeah, Alice will I'll get up. I'll extend a hand to Ellie, help her up.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of in the best way that Alice knows how, really. Yeah. Kind of give her like a it's okay.
You're not even quite sure where you're supposed to pat somebody to make them feel better, but
weird. Yeah,
they're there.
Alice is like, I don't know, stuff.
Jet, you notice as you step in, Dan stays outside, but he doesn't close the door all the way. It's about an inch open.
And I'll say, as she's staying in, she'll say to Jet, "How was the bar? Getting back together?"
Yeah, we're doing what we can.
That Anastasia, she can haul a lot. She is a tank, that woman.
I hate you right now. Oh, but back in character. She look, and I just this is the most honest, flat look I can give. I just look at Miss Alice. I say, look, I don't care what's going on here. I'm not being rude, but something's at the bar, and Miss Ellie needs to see it, and it don't concern none of us.
Is Charlie okay?
Yeah. I mean, he's as okay as he's ever been, as far as I know. Please just trust me. I think you need to
Jet
see.
cannot make eye contact with you.
I think you need to. You need to see it. I can't.
I trust you. And I guess she'll kind of give Alice a look and then just try to wipe off her eyes and shake herself off, and then I guess she'll leave. Is Jet coming with her, or is he?
I'm going to walk you, and I will stay far enough where I cannot hear, but where I'm near enough where if you needed me, I'd be there. So I will walk you, and I will probably be in the middle of the dirt road. And once we get there, I must say, go talk to Charlie. He just again, I just think you need to talk to him. I'll be here if you need me.
You're kind of worrying me, and that's saying something right now.
It's okay. It don't concern me. It's. I don't mean to worry you.
I appreciate it. I'll kind of give him a look and then walk in the bar and look for Charlie.
He's sitting all alone at a table in the corner, dealing cards from his half a deck of cards. Big bottle in front of him, half full. He looks up and sees you and just kind of smiles.
Charlie, the place looks so much better. Are you feeling better?
Thanks. Come here. Have a seat.
Go have a seat.
I'd offer you a drink, but I know better. But
You seem to know a lot of things.
You might want one after this. And he reaches up and takes off his hat. And his whole face comes off with it, most of the hair. And it takes you a second because he's old. But this is your father's brother. This is the man that when you were a child, you wished this was your dad. Because he was cool. And he didn't beat you and your brother. And then when you got older, he didn't do that. And he's just looking at you with tears running down his cheeks. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
What the hell?
I killed him, Ellie. It wasn't your brother. You need to know that.
Carson's been on the run for fucking years and you killed him?
It's worse than that. I don't know where Carson is. I don't even know when he is.
What are you talking about when he is? I've been looking for him for years. Nobody knows where he is. The law's after him.
The night it happened, Ellie, I found out and I was there in 12 hours. You had been gone less than 6. I can't abide that in my family, so I killed that son of a bitch with my own hands. And we had a plan, Ellie. Carson and I had a plan. We had a spell each. We were going to take it. It was supposed to take us to a safe place. But it separated us. And it sent me back 22 years in time and all the way to Ireland. It took me 2 years to get back here. I don't know where he is, Ellie, but before you leave, before you storm out on me, girl, I can contact him once, no matter where he is, no matter when he is, but he is still wanted here. I need to rebuild this, and once this is complete, then they will never be able to take me outside the doors, and then I can tell them what happened, Ellie. And they'll never make me pay. They will never make me leave this building. And your brother will be able to walk free.
You use magic. How's anybody going to believe you?
I can show them, Ellie. And he starts flipping cards on the table in front of him, and they're like scenes out of a movie. It's 2 kings facing off against each other yelling, and in the next one of the jacks is stabbing one of the kings in the back. There's a whole series of cards. I can show them, Ellie. I can prove to them who did this.
He was a kid. How could you involve him?
I just tried to take him with me, Ellie. It was an act of passion. It was an act of the moment. You were gone.
I know. It was my fault.
No, it was not. You made no decisions, miss.
He
I
did
made
it
them
because of
all.
me. And I just left him.
We can bring him back, Ellie.
You said I could speak to him.
One time. To call him here. From wherever he is. But he is wanted here. I am in no position to ask this, Ellie. But will you do me 2 favors?
Name them.
When this is rebuilt, will you run it for me? I just want to sit in the corner and do my card tricks. It's free alcohol. You cannot lose on this deal.
How did you get this whatever's in you anyways?
A man, a bad idea, and a lot of alcohol walk into a bar. It's a real joke, Ellie.
It's my fucking life.
One more favor before you answer about the first one. When it's done, can we call it Miss Ellie's?
You want me to run a bar with my name on it? What am I, Alice?
You most assuredly are not. She would have punched me by now. Ellie, I can never make up for what I did. I can only tell you I did it because I hated that son of a bitch for what he did to you, and I couldn't stop him.
I hated it too, but I didn't turn my brother into a murderer.
I deserve that. I deserve that 100 times over for 20 years.
You can't bring him here right now. Jet.
No, I cannot.
I trust him with my life, but if he sees Carson and recognizes him... God.
You want that drink now?
No. You know what happens when you drink? When you're like this? You hurt people you care about. I'll never be like him, and I'll never let myself.
That's why you can save him.
How? I don't know, man. I didn't even believe in magic.
You're gonna hate this, Ellie. You save him by saving me.
Sounds convenient. But at this point, I don't care. I'm tired. I'm in my mid-20s. I've traveled across the entire country looking for him. I'll help you rebuild this place. For him. But I swear to God, you're lying to me.
Go ahead.
When Jet brought me here, he seemed worried. How much did you tell him?
I don't know why I trusted him, but I told him almost all of it. He does not know we can contact your brother. He does not know that once this place is complete, they'll never get me out of here.
Does he know about Carson? About what they think he's a murderer?
I don't believe he does. I didn't tell you, did I? No, I did not. That's family business.
I guess it's almost a relief to have somebody know.
And he takes the cards that he's playing with, and without looking draws one of them and puts it on the table and flips it over in front of you. And it's the black joker. And he says, you keep that, Ellie. And if ever you feel the need, you burn it. And that burns me. That burns this place. You'll get your revenge, but you won't get your brother.
I don't want revenge. I didn't even want him to die. I just wanted Carson to be safe. And I knew if I was there and he found out, this exact thing would happen. I just pocket it.
And he's out of words. He's just sitting there. He's doing the thing you hate the most. He's just sitting there drinking.
God, I used to look up to you. I used to think, if only I could live with Uncle Charlie, everything would be fine. But look at that. My dad's a bastard and my uncle's a murderer.
He's crushed. Just shattered. I'm so sorry.
I need to leave.
And you turn around. Out the doors. You can't see anything. Jet's right there in front of you, like he said he would be. What do you do?
I just burst into tears and throw myself at him and just start sobbing on his shoulder.
Jet?
I was shook up already. I was waiting, but yeah, I knew something like this was going to happen, so I just comfort her the best I can, just hug her and just kind of like, it's okay. It's okay.
Is it?
Man. And it's just that it's like laugh because I'm on the verge of tears myself. I'm like, hell if I know, but I know that whatever it is, we'll all handle it. However the hell we can.
And behind you in the bar, you hear a beam break. And that's where we'll end tonight. I wasn't gonna, every week I say this, I wasn't gonna go this way this week, but you guys again, holy shit. Hannah, I hope you got lots of room in that chip pile, girl. Wow, thank you. I hadn't been part of one of those before, but that's 3. Well done.
You keep breaking Hannah.
You know,
Leave that poor girl alone.
I had planned one thing. I wanted to do the reveal tonight. I did not expect the 2 things that piled on before that. But
Yeah.
All right.
Well, make sure you subscribe to Mercenaries of Mischief for all this feel-good content like you're getting this week. All the good feeling fun times we're having this week.
Shut up, Marty.
meanwhile, I shut down 3 windows of things we didn't get to this week again. Holy cow, guys.
Might like roleplay. I don't know.
We do.
We do it
Yeah, I think
sometimes.
there was a couple dice rolled tonight at one point, maybe 4 times the dice were rolled, 5 times, and one of those was a 1 in 100 chance. Well, before we forget, I want to thank all my fellow storytellers here. With one hand projecting from, in the cartoons, they used to draw the fight as just like a cloud of dust with legs and feet. Stuff. Yeah, imagine that with no clothes on. Just
That's a different kind of role play.
From in the middle of that rolling around play, we have our regular weekly dungeon master for our Mercenaries of Mischief. He killed somebody this week, so I figured his character probably needed to have sex. So
look,
I get paid off for killing people around here.
I have to inject the levity.
Yes. Levity. That's what you call it. Is that what you called? Before it gets too much worse, we're going to step down the line from one end of the emotional spectrum to the other. Holy shit, Hannah, we did it to you again. I don't know why you're my favorite. I do. I know exactly why you're my favorite target. It's because you play hard. holy shit, you get into your characters. I am impressed every time I push you. You just come back with this amazing character. Thank you so much. Down at the end, Sam, we didn't do a ton tonight, and I threw you out of a scene, and I hate doing that, but that had to be a girls only moment. I'm sorry.
You bastard.
That's fine.
On the bright side, you got 2 more hours tinkering, so you got something. You can get something started. And then down at the bottom, Miss Alice, we did it to you again. Some more stuff.
So I just hate it.
This is Sarah, by the way. I referred to her in name. I've introduced everybody else by name. I should probably introduce you by name too. This is Sarah. She plays Miss Alice.
Oh, I am
and
Alice.
she plays Gilbetta for us on Sunday nights in our other D&D homebrew game.
And she plays Jessica. Like, if you don't know who Sarah is, you're new to the channel. So welcome.
You must be new because she's on all the time. Yeah,
she's in all the shows.
Yeah.
There's nothing she loves more than Russian nesting dolls of mysteries.
I own Russian nesting dolls, actually.
Speaking of Russian nesting dolls.
Oh, yeah. Somebody had to thank you. Thank you for you going there.
Both my characters are sad right now. So,
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't tell me.
In 2 weeks or in a week and a half, you'll get to play a character who's not sad right now.
There you go.
Not yet.
Yeah, she will be. It's fine. Give it time.
Yeah, so if y'all are into steampunk Victorian Gothic horror, tune in on Thursday the 14th when Clockwork Dominion comes back. That is a wonderful game that is GM'd by the creator of the system. Is it homebrew? Is it official content? Who knows?
Is it all of those things?
And in the far corner, I can't forget him because he's looking pensive again, biting his finger. That finger's got no flesh left on it after the end of this week. Our very own Sky playing Jet tonight. Tonight, he was the man that had everybody else's problems shoved in his face.
I'm sad.
Oh.
Pin's sad. Jet's sad. We're all sad.
Yeah.
I'm having a wonderful time.
It's because we're heading into the Christmas season. That must be it.
I'm not so sad. It's okay.
Sorrow is a beautiful emotion, so
it's okay.
Lots of people here doing lots of stuff. So let's just quickly go through. Puck, tell us what you do when you're not.
I am the benevolent dungeon master of mercenaries and mischief. And also too many warlocks.
I'm one of those.
Killed anybody this week.
And I do those shows on Sundays and Mondays, and I occasionally run in to be the goofball in other people's games.
It's awful.
Currently the goofball in this game, and I'm also the goofball in the Clockwork Dominion game.
I don't know if I agree with that sentence by the end of the last episode. Unless you put the word psychotic in there somewhere.
He's a little psychotic. I was thinking more, look, the things that character has planned for the next episode.
Oh,
it's some fucked up shit.
That's bad.
I must admit, I enjoy watching Zeke's face when you guys play for him. Sarah, I know you're in that game too. Anything you want to add about it?
I'm in so many games.
I'm in all the games.
So many games.
And then in the far corner, he's in 2 games a week, one with me, one with the supposedly benevolent one. And he also keeps all of our YouTube content in order and all in nice, neat playlists and such. So take a little bow and tell us a little bit about that, Sky. Where are we at? YouTube.
We're doing pretty well on YouTube. Make sure to go subscribe to us there if you want to see more of our supplementary content. I'm going to always plug it until we have something better. Geese Thieving Bastards is a one-shot we did. It was a literal shit show. It made me cry. Made me laugh.
In a different way than tonight made you cry.
Yeah, if you need to decompress from this week's episodes, that's where you need to go. It's on our YouTube. Go hit us up there, please. It's beautiful.
Additional reason to watch that episode is a character from that episode might be joining us.
Ho ho.
When another character from a completely different YouTube channel, but you might be familiar with. I don't know what Willie. Tell him about what's going on.
Why, it's Dingo Doodles of YouTube fame from the YouTube channel Dingo Doodles.
It's who?
And she'll be coming on the Sunday show playing the character Sips, who you might know from the videos, who is a wild magic sorcerer. And I will introduce in some spectacular fashion, and we'll have some fun, have a little bit of laughs, play a game together. And she will forever be made part of our continuity.
Yes. She gets her room in the keep, I'm sure.
I'm certain.
And one quick final thanks before we throw it back to Mad Marty. I want to thank our behind the scenes man who is responsible for keeping Mad Marty caged for most of the evening and letting him out on occasion when required. He's also our button pusher extraordinaire, although he bought a thing with very specifically marked buttons on it and still sometimes hits the wrong one, but I think that might be Marty. Anyway, behind the scenes, our Mad Maker himself, Jonathan, thank you for all the sound effects tonight. Those are all off the top of his head. I didn't give him any heads up about what we were doing, so thank you very much.
I do my best.
Yeah,
And
there it
with
is.
that, if there's anything anybody else has, Marty, you got the list.
I mean, I think we hit most of the things. For y'all who didn't catch the middle part of this here show, don't forget we got this thing going on. You want to play with Puck? You got a couple ways you can do that. You can either join in on our Patreon, $25 a month. You get to play in the game every day, month. But we also got a special thing. You want him all to yourself with your friends, get him alone in the woods, as it were. Y'all can just donate $10 or more to our Extra Life campaign down there in the panels. You'll get entered into a raffle to win a session with Puck as your DM, and you know what? You might even get an AKA member there too if you ask real nice. So check that out. It's for a good cause. $10. You can do it.
Oh. Whew, I needed that laugh. Thank you.
I got your back.
I'm so
With
sad.
that, there's nothing left to say but
well-
the traditional and the final. We'll shoot you next week. Bye.
Then a mage with polymorph, he cast spell on me. Soon I was a halfling chick, standing 3'3". Then some undead found me and cursed me in the Shire, and I became a bardic blade, sex-changed hobbit vampire, 2012-10-864. Screw you, DM today. To hell with your stupid game, we're walking out the door.